Chapter 2. Jim Corbett's Best Friend. Jim Corbett is regarded as one of the greatest hunters of India. For him, hunting was not a sport, it was his way of serving people. Asia's first national park, the Jim Corbett National Park in Uttarakhand, is named after this great man. He was a British Army officer born in Nainital. One of his most famous books is The Man-Eaters of Kumaon. He writes about his experiences in the jungles of North India. This piece describes how he trained himself to become a hunter and his relationship with Robin, his dog. I was lucky to live in a place called Kaladungi, a town nestled in the middle of thick forests. I had always seen animals in the forests. I was fascinated by them from a young age. I have always loved animals. When I decided to teach myself how to hunt, I learned to use the catapult and the bow and arrow. When I was an 8-year-old, I even learned to use an old gun. I decided that I would hunt animals only if they became dangerous to human beings. I first learned how to track animals near a canal that was by my house. Many animals came to drink water from the canal. In the beginning, the tracks confused me. I could hardly tell the difference between the tracks of a sambar, a blue bull, and a pig, or even those of hyenas, leopards, and wild dogs. I began to observe each of these animals. Gradually, I became quite good at this. I could even track snakes and tell whether they were poisonous or harmless. Each animal has a different call. I used to lie awake at night listening to their calls. I realized that their calls had some meaning to convey. Their calls differ according to the circumstances. For instance, a warning call is quite different from the one that is used to call young ones. I often amused myself by imitating the calls of animals and birds. I was best at imitating the growls of tigers and leopards. A hunter must know how to walk noiselessly in the forest, climb trees, be alert, and always keep his eyes open. He must be able to spot the slightest movement among the trees. Very often, this can make a big difference, the difference between life and death. I have had a few narrow escapes, once from a cobra that was about to strike, and another time from a leopard that almost sprang upon me. As I grew older, I stayed out all night in the jungle. Surprisingly, the jungle never frightened me. I would light a fire and lie down next to it. That was protection enough for me. I felt very close to nature as I let the sounds of the jungle wash over me. It always felt wonderful to sleep under the open sky at night. My world changed forever when Robin came into my life. I first met him when he was barely 3 months old. He was a dirty little puppy, and I did not want to keep him. But no matter what I thought, Robin decided that he wanted to be with me. He licked me and curled himself over my feet in such a way that I did not have the heart to turn him away. I knew that he was here to stay. I bathed him and fed him. His friendliness and intelligence won me over, and we became friends for life. I knew that I would become a hunter. I loved animals, and I would hunt them only if they became dangerous. If Robin was to become a hunter's dog, he would have to be trained. I decided that his first lesson would be to learn to retrieve birds. When he was old enough, I took him into the jungle. He was a good pupil, and quickly learnt how to bring back the peafowl I shot. Then Robin learnt a few lessons that he would never forget. One day, when we were on our way home, Robin saw a troop of langurs. He charged after one of them. I whistled to call him back, but he ran on. The langur easily escaped by climbing up a tree. He then chased the rest of the troop. He followed a few of them into some bushes, but ran out at once. Something was on his trail. He was being chased by a huge leopard. The langurs were calling out a warning. As suddenly as the leopard stepped out from the trees, it disappeared from my sight again. I knew that it was hiding somewhere. I gripped my rifle firmly, knowing that I would have to use it at any moment. Once again, Robin stopped in front of a tree. I then remembered an old jungle saying, "It is never safe to assume that a leopard is dead until it has been skinned." What had attracted Robin's attention was a series of low, angry grunts. Out came the leopard and headed straight for us. I fired my rifle. At the sound of the shot, Robin ran for cover. The leopard lay dead. Robin crawled out from under a bush. I was glad to see that he was unhurt. That day, Robin learned never to disobey my whistle again. He also learned never to chase langurs and to heed to their call. When langurs give a warning call, it means that a leopard is nearby. He learned to keep absolutely still when ordered to do so. He learned to walk as silently as a cat. He knew that it was important not to pay attention to any other animal or bird except the one we were hunting. Robin lived to the ripe age of 13. We shared many exciting adventures. He was the best and most faithful friend that I ever had. If you visit my garden at Kaladungi, you will see his grave.